So earlier we have studied few features of the Companies Act 2013. Now we shall be studying the further other rules or further features of this Companies Act 2013. Now what are the further features? So firstly it is regulatory mechanism. The Act 2013 provides separate civil and criminal mechanism to handle various types of corporate, commercial and criminal matters and taking speedy decisions on the same. Means what? That there shall be different mechanisms which shall be operating for civil cases, for criminal cases, for corporate cases, for commercial cases and other matters. So what will this help in doing? It shall help for taking speedy decisions, and also different people who are professionally skilled for each activity shall be assigned, and they shall take the decisions properly. Next is stringent penalties for frauds. In this act, there is a lot of importance given to the investors or to the shareholders or stakeholders. Why? Because protecting the investor is one of the most important part of any economy. Means what? Since people are investing their hard earned money, since people will be investing their whatever funds they have, they would expect that they shouldn't go into losses, and if people go into losses, they would lose their confidence in the share markets. So in return, what it would lead to, companies wouldn't get money for their own capital. Hence it is important to have proper penalties for the people who commit frauds, for the frauds under the name of the company. A lot of importance has been given to protect the rights of the shareholders and other stakeholders. Certain provisions in Companies Act have been introduced to detect and prevent frauds. The Act casts the duty of reporting frauds on professionals. Penalties are provided for CEO, CFO, and to other professionals and others who are a part of the fraud. Punishment for fraud under this Act is up to 10 years. Imprisonment. There is a provision for compensating aggrieved persons. Means what? That this act has stated punishments right from the people, right from CEO to CFO and other professionals who are a part of the fraud. And this new act has given protection to investors and punishments to the people committing frauds up to 10 years of imprisonment, and compensating to the aggrieved person. What does this mean? Compensating means whatever the loss has been done to the people, the government shall take a charge and government shall pay, or they shall make the company who has committed fraud to pay to the investor. Further, we should study suitable for international environment. Now, what does international environment mean? International environment means all the matters relating to foreign investors, inspection and investigating with foreign states. All the countries or all the states outside India which shall be into business or which shall be into business ideas with India, or any person who has taken their business from India to outside any foreign country. So this act shall provide certain this this act shall provide certain restrictions, or certain, we can say, they shall provide certain care towards them also. So what does this mean? This act provides a suitable regulatory mechanism by enacting provisions like cross-border mergers, foreign courts for redressing grievances of foreign investors, inspection and investigating with foreign states. So all these transactions like cross-border mergers means what? What does merger mean? Merger means either a foreign company coming into India and merging, means what? Getting included with another business which is taking place in India, or a Indian business going and joining hands with a business which is working outside India. Then foreign courts for redressing grievances of foreign investors. So whoever foreign investors are, there will be certain people who are staying outside India but who are interested in investing in our markets. Like in recent times we have heard many foreign businesses have invested with Geo. So what was that? So these people have invested in Geo business. Why they have invested? They have seen some interest with them, so they have invested. So now giving protection to them, seeing that their money is not into losses, is our responsibility. Hence, what shall be done? Hence, in this case, we shall see to it that their inspection, then they are investigating, then whatever money they have invested or whatever decisions are to be taken related to them shall be taken, and they shall be given proper care and protection inside Indian borders. Then next is protection of public funds. There are certain provisions to protect public funds. Public funds includes the funds of public financial institutions as well as funds raised from the public. Instances of defrauding creditors, shareholders, and depositors are strictly dealt with the new act. So now they have decided to give protection of public funds. Money which will be invested by either by the citizens who are in India or outside citizens also, or there may be creditors who have given money on credit, or whoever people who have invested in our business shall be given protection under this act. Then good governance. Now what does good governance mean? With improved transparency and accountability, the Act aims to have good corporate governance in the companies. Example, additional disclosures in the report of board meetings, mandatory disclosures on company websites, audit rotation, etc. Good governance. What does good governance mean? Good governance means that the government shall see to it that companies are transparent. Transparent means what? That whatever goes on in the company, whatever actions are being taken in the company, the shareholders shall be given knowledge about the same. And also accountability. What does accountability mean? Accounts, whatever accounts are being taking place in the company, if new capital is invested or if new property is bought or there are some changes, whatever is done, there shall be a proper disclosure of report in the board meetings. Means what? All the board members, that is the board of directors of the company, shall be knowing whatever is done, and there shall be mandatory disclosures on company websites. On the website, if I am an investor of a certain company and if I want to check what is going on in the company, I should be able to find the information on the public website which is given by the company. And also audit rotation means what? That different people shall be appointed as auditors and audit shall be done with certain period of time. Further, we shall study more categories of the company. With greater diversity of companies, categorizing such companies into private, public is not enough. The law empowers the central government to determine and categorize the companies in different classes and selectively apply various norms as per requirement. More categories of the companies means what? That in the earlier act we had companies categorizing only public company and private company. Means what? Public company will be that company which has more than 51% share capital held by the government and people will be allowed to invest. In private companies, there won't be any kind of government interference and there will be a limit on the number of people to be there in the company. So now according to the law, they have divided it into more further various companies which shall be studied further. Then next is more classes of companies. So the act has introduced new norms, new forms of companies and concepts such as one person company, small company, big companies, dormant companies, active companies. So one person company. What does one person company mean? One person company means one person shall be the director of the company. Then what does small company mean? Small company means which shall have a limited amount of share capital. Then what does big company mean? Big companies means their share capital shall be above a certain prescribed limit. What shall be dormant companies? Dormant companies means which are not operating but which are companies who are not into operation. Then there are active companies. Active companies means those companies which are currently active and which have day-to-day business transactions. Next we have what are the additional duties for company management. As per the new act, additional administrative burden, duties and responsibilities are casted on the company management to protect the interest of shareholders. Means what? That additional duties, so the additional duties shall be the company shall see to it that every shareholder's interest is being protected. By interest, what do we mean? By interest, it is meant that whatever amount is invested, if I am a shareholder or if I am the investor in a company, I have the right to go and ask what is the company doing, how will be the interest, what amount of capital or what amount of shares does the company hold, how many debentures does it hold, or any other information which I want. And it shall be the responsibility of the management to answer every question of mine. Then next is class of action against consultants. Under this act, shareholders have the right to take action against the consultants and advisors through class actions. What does this mean? Class action means that shareholders have the right to take action against the consultants or advisors. Means what? If a certain person has advised me to take certain shares, and I find out that in the company the shares or the company is not operating properly, in that case I shall have the right to go and take action against these advisors or against these people. Then next is e-commerce. E-commerce means what? The new act attempts to incorporate the use of technologies for better communication and dissemination of information with the stakeholders of the companies. Video conferencing and electronic voting is now possible in companies' administration. Now, what do we mean by e-commerce? So, by e-commerce, it is meant by electronically there can be various decisions taking place. Since technology is getting advanced and since we have better communication and dissemination of information, means what? That information can be spread to the shareholders or to the stakeholders of the company easily through electronic media, as most of the people use electronic media. So the company shall have the system of video conferencing or taking electronic voting in the board meetings or in the shareholders meetings, whichever shall take place. There shall be a system for electronic voting, so that the shareholders who are not staying in and around the company or not staying in the state in which the company is, there can be electronic voting, which will now help the people for their administration. So here we have seen the basic silent features of the Companies Act 2013. Now we shall have a overview of what has been changed from Companies Act 1956 to Companies Act 2013. So firstly, in that it is scope. Now what does scope mean? The new act contains 29 chapters. We have seen this earlier. 470 sections and 7 schedules. The substantial part of law is in the form of rules to be prescribed separately. 33 new definitions are introduced in the act. Example: associate company, small company, promoter, related party turnovers, chief executive officer, CEO, chief financial officer, CFO, etc. So what all has been changes and what are the changes that are introduced by the Companies Act? So firstly we have seen that they have introduced 29 chapters, 470 sections and 7 schedules. The substantial part is prescribed separately. Means what? That certain part is prescribed separately, that is they have given certain new definitions. Example: associate company. Few examples which they have introduced in Companies Act 2013. Firstly, associate company. Second, small company. Third, promoter. Then related party turnover, chief executive officer, that is CEO, or chief financial officer, that is CFO. Then next we have uniform financial year. Uniform financial year, as we have studied in accounts that we have a uniform financial year, that is financial year is fixed, which shall begin on 1st April and end on 31st March of every year. So they have described, they have said that companies who have suppose started their business on, suppose a company has started their business on 15th of November. So from 15th November till 31st March, they shall take one accounting year, and from 1st April they shall start with the new accounting year. Since the rule is prescribed that from 1st April to 31st March we shall have our financial year uniform for all the companies, for all the people who are carrying out business. Uniform financial year April to March has been prescribed by the act for all the companies. Certain exceptions subject to the approval of National Community Law Board Tribunal NCLT are possible under the act. If a company wants to have a different financial year, so what they have to do is they have to take the approval of National Company Law Board Tribunal. If they take the approval of National Company Law Board Tribunal, then they will have the permission if the tribunal feels that the reason is valid or it is required for the company to have such date. Further, incorporation of capital raising means what? Now what does capital raising mean? So capital raising means that a company shall get its capital raised from the public through people, that is through various different people who are staying in and around, who have certain kind of confidence or who feel that the company will do well and they will get in return some amount, so they become the investors of the company. So in this way, when people come and invest in your company, you start raising capital. So for incorporation of capital rising, so firstly, maximum number of members. We are studying for private company. Public company shall not have any maximum number of members. So maximum number of members, a private company can have maximum 200 members. As per old act, this number was 50. So in the earlier act, they had said that private companies shall hold only 50 members, but according to Companies Act 2013, they have stated that the maximum number of members shall be 200. Then next shall be wider scope of officer in default. As per the new act, scope of default and of officer in default has been widened to include share transfer agents, registrars and merchant bankers. So the transfer agent, registrars and merchant bankers to issue or transfer of shares. Chief financial officers, directors having knowledge of the default by way of participation in board meeting or receiving the minutes without any objections will be included in this category. Now, officer in default, earlier they had prescribed only a few officers in default, but now they have given more wider people who shall be people in default, because the frauds which have been committed over the period have given many other options who are actually in default. So in this, it shall be included share transfer agents. Means what? Company has a few agents who are working for the company, who shall be dealing with the shares of the company, who shall be dealing with the registrars of the company, and merchant bankers. Merchant bankers means who shall be handling all the money related transactions of the banks or of the shares. Then chief financial officers. Chief financial officers means who shall be dealing with other official information related to finance. Then directors who were having knowledge, since directors are 24/7 present in the company. Whenever the company is operating, it shall have its directors. So directors shall be having the knowledge of the default and who have been participating in the default, or who have been receiving the minutes without any objection will be included. So people who are seen to be committed in the fraud, or who are seen to be included in the fraud, shall be given punishment, and shall be fined with penalty. Next is one person company. So the one person company, by one person company, the act has introduced the concept of one person company. It can be formed as a private limited company. So the for private limited company, they say that the maximum number of persons shall be 200, but they have introduced a concept saying one person company, which can have only one person and who shall be included as a private company. Then division of object clause of memorandum of association is required into main object and incidental objects. So what does object clause mean? Object clause means what is the objective of the company, what is the business of the company, and in that case it shall have two businesses also. For example, I have started a company, or I have started a business of selling strawberries. So in this case, my main business will be selling strawberries, and incidental business, I make strawberry jam. So in this case, incidental object will be making jam. When I am registering my business, I will state that the main object of the business is to sell strawberries, but also the incidental business shall be selling strawberry jams, which means that it shall be an ancillary, that is a small business which shall be included with the main business. So what does it say? It is not necessary to divide object clause of memorandum of association into main, ancillary, and other objects. Only the object for which the company is incorporated is required to be mentioned. Matters which are necessary to achieve these objects may also be mentioned under section 4. So what does this state? That whatever ancillary business you carry out, you shall mention about it. But when you have incorporated, you shall also mention that what all is required, or what are the necessary objects to achieve. Means what? That if I have decided to have a strawberry jam business, what all I will be requiring. Then next we have alteration of the object clause. So what does alteration of a object clause mean? A company which has raised money from public through prospectus and still has unutilized amount cannot change its objects for which it has raised the money without any special resolution. Details of such resolution shall be published in the newspaper and on company's website. The restriction is newly added in the Companies Act 2013. Alteration of the object clause. Now what does it mean by alteration? Alteration means we shall make changes. So a company cannot make changes in the object clause of the business. That is, if I have suppose incorporated my company saying I want to sell strawberries. So I cannot change the object of the business directly saying now I don't want to sell strawberries, I want to sell strawberry jam. This cannot be done. If I want to start selling strawberry jam, firstly, what are things I have to do and what are the different changes? So since we have raised the money, the capital amount we have raised through prospectus, that is telling the public that we will be selling strawberry. So the company was interested in your company, so the public was interested in your company when you were selling strawberries. Maybe people are not interested when you are selling strawberry jam. So in that case, what shall be done? So in that case, we shall tell the public that we are shifting our business. Our main purpose of the business shall now be selling strawberry jam and not strawberries. So in that case, many people who are not interested in your company selling strawberry jam, what they shall do is they shall take away the unutilized, that is they shall take away their shares. So this will help the investors also to know that what the company is actually doing. Then next we have, after this we have prospectus and allotment of securities. Now what does allotment of securities mean, or what is a prospectus? So what is a prospectus? Prospectus is basically a book which has information regarding the company. Regarding what? Regarding what is the business of the company, regarding what all things shall be done in the business, how is it, how will it they be done, who are the members of the company, who are the shareholders of the company, or who are the board of directors, whatever it is, everything shall be mentioned. All types of securities. The act governs the issue of all types of securities as compared to only shares and debentures in the Companies Act 1956. The provisions of the new act contains the manner in which securities can be issued by both public and private companies. So in this case, all types of securities, public and private companies shall tell that which shares shall be issued, how many shares shall be issued, which debentures are you issuing, how are you going to raise funds for the working of your company. Then there shall be detailed prospectus. A company shall not make any changes in terms of contract referred to in prospectus or objects for which it is issued without the approval of shareholders, by way of special resolution, and providing exist opportunities to the dissenting shareholders. So what does detailed prospectus mean? Detailed prospectus means that all the information about your company, about all the other things, about the terms of contract, what all contracts have been made, then what is the object of the business, then how different people will be operating in your business, who are the board of directors, who are the investors, who are the promoters. Promoters are the people who have incorporated or who have bought up the idea of starting a company. So everything shall be mentioned in this detailed prospectus. Then what is a shelf prospectus? Now what do you mean by a shelf prospectus? SEBI to prescribe class or classes of companies that can file shelf prospectus with the registrar. Under old act, only public financial institution, public sector banks and scheduled banks were allowed to issue shelf prospectus. Now what do you mean by shelf prospectus? Shelf prospectus means for every stage, that is for every class or every classes of shareholders. Means what? That there will be investors who are investing 10,000 rupees, or there may be investors who are investing 10 lakh rupees. So every class shall have different prospectus in the earlier act, but in the 2013 act they have changed, and they are saying that a proper prospectus which has all the classes prescribed and which has all the information for all the classes of shares shall be mentioned in one prospectus. And only public financial institutions or scheduled banks were allowed to issue shelf prospectus. They had limited to certain people, that only these people can issue shelf prospectus. But now they have said that everyone shall have the right to issue shelf prospectus. Then next, action in case of misleading statement in prospectus. Any person or group of persons affected by misleading statement can take civil or criminal action against any person. There is a provision of punishment for fraudulently inducing person to invest money. Punishment is also provided against a person making or making application under fictitious names or different names for acquiring or subscribing to securities of the company. Now what does this mean? So what people did, people used to take fictitious names. Means what? People who did not exist, they used to take their names and they used to buy shares under their name. or they used to make people forcibly take shares. If I am not interested into investing into your business, still they made an attempt, or they made people to invest in my business. So that what happened, so due to this, it was easy for people to acquire someone else's business by investing into their business. What How do you acquire, or what is the way in which you can acquire a business? So for acquiring a business, you need 51% share capital in any firm, so that the company becomes yours. So what did people do? People used to acquire different shares or securities through different people's name, or taking fake names. So what did this happen? So this led to making people take away companies which were actually not having people whose name existed. Return of allotment. In addition of shares, return of allotment is required to be filed for all types of securities. Now, what is return of allotment? Means what? If in case I have purchased certain shares of a company, but I am not able to allot shares to that person due to any reason. So I will file that how many shares I had received and how many shares I had to return, because I could not file, I could not take shares from them. Okay, so we shall stop here and we shall continue it in the next class. Thank you.